battle for Louisiana now. The hearts and minds of the children, they're going to have to see, apparently, the Ten Commandments in their schools.
No, they are not.
Yeah. Yeah,
Wait,
they're going to.
In American schools?
In American schools.
Okay.
The Ten Commandments.
So, now let me ask you a question. Not all 10 at the same time, right?
Yes, all 10.
There's 10 of them. There's a whole lot
10.
of them.
Yeah. I mean, it's too many, right? That's too many things to worry about. You can't. I mean, okay, I keep a couple of them. You want me to keep all 10? And the answer is yes.
Well,
and the answer is they're going to be displayed in schools. And I think this is from primary school all the way through higher education, right?
College, yeah.
Yeah.
If you're a classroom that receives state funding in Louisiana, you are required to keep this. And as the story says, I mean, the font size, I mean, you can't just be hiding it in the corner with, 12 font.
Wow.
On a note card.
That's interesting. So what about the separation of church and state? I bet you're wondering. Wait a minute. What? Isn't that violation of that important clause? Maybe the most important clause in the U.S. Constitution?
Oh, Louisiana knows that they're on a collision course.
Yeah, they can't wait.
Courtroom.
I think it was the governor that said we can't wait for the lawsuit to be filed. That's great. I hope somebody does battle this out. It'd be great. So they're the first state in the U.S. to require them being posted, the Ten Commandments being posted in all school classrooms. The new law was signed Wednesday by Jeff Landry, the governor of the state. Other states, including Texas, South Carolina, and Utah, recently attempted similar measures, but none of their bills got across the legislative finish line.
Huh.
That's interesting.
That is interesting, isn't it?
Isn't that interesting? Even in Texas, South Carolina, and Utah.
We've made the case on this show before that when this went away in, 62? That we've seen something like that. Yeah. We've seen, a massive decline in
everything.
Moral fiber.
Yes.
And so, at least this is a beginning.
Yeah, it's a start to reverse that process. How dare you try to do that?
Yeah.
How dare you? Well, and they're not going to stand for it. I mean, you already hear the screams of separation of church and state, which of course doesn't
the Constitution.
exist.
Oh wait, no.
Yeah, not constitutional. Okay. I mean, it is so prevalent though. I'll bet 8 or 9 out of 10 Americans believe that there's some kind of separation of church and state outlined in the Constitution.
Oh, more than that.
You think so?
Oh, I bet it's 95%.
Yeah. So 9.5 out of 10. So that half person I wasn't accounting for. But and you're going to say, well, what does it say in the Constitution about? Read the First Amendment. That's what it says. That's it. I mean, that's the obligation of.
Yeah, but we've extrapolated on that.
We sure have. Yes, we have. We've misinterpreted it. The Supreme Court certainly has. But the wording in the Constitution is that Congress shall make no law established regarding the establishment of a religion, nor prohibiting the free exercise thereof. The end. I mean, then they go on to outline the other First Amendment rights that we have, the 4 more of them. But that's it. That's all they say about religion. It doesn't say you can't pray in school. It doesn't say you can't pray on government grounds. It doesn't say you can't talk about God in the public square. None of that stuff exists. And yet, look where we are.
Right.
So this is I think this is a great step in the right direction. But back in the hen house, the coven collect about the Ten Commandments law in Louisiana.
This is good.
Here's what they said.
Is this theater, or does he think this is going to stand up in court?
I think he really does think it's going to stand up in court, because if you're going to follow the rule of law, then you really need to follow the U.S. Supreme Court. That's the rule of law of our land.
Yeah. Wait, what? As soon as I saw this clip yesterday, I said, we'll be pausing it right here.
Yes, and indeed. That was very prophetic, Keith. Very prophetic.
Yeah.
Can you believe that?
I tell you what.
These people, man.
after berating the Supreme Court on virtually every ruling because they ignore all those
and Joe
they
Biden
agree
is
with.
so strong on bypassing the Supreme Court, doing what he knows
exactly.
best.
I'm waiting for the Views 15-minute segment on how Joe Biden ignores the Supreme Court, especially on items like, I don't know, student loan forgiveness. Fill in the blank, but that one especially.
I mean, they've done nothing but whine and moan about overturning Roe v. Wade and how evil the Supreme Court is because of it. And now
she's got some balls for that.
Wow!
Holy cow!
Oh, the hypocrisy!
Yeah,
it's too much.
I'm sure that when the Supreme Court said we're getting rid of Roe v. Wade, they were just like, "Yep, the Supreme Court has spoken."
Well,
yeah. What show are you listening to right now?
I'm sorry.
Keith?
I'm actually.
Right. No,
I'm looking.
problem.
I'm looking ahead because I'm watching the clock.
Okay. All right.
Continue.
All right. Let's let her finish this unbelievably stupid rant.
Stand up in court, because if you're going to follow the rule of law, then you really need to follow the U.S. Supreme Court. That's the rule of law of our land. And I would say the Supreme Court has said that the Ten Commandment displays in public schools are unconstitutional, and that happened in 1980. So we're talking about nearly identical laws. And a half a century ago, they said it wasn't okay. I think what he is banking on is that this sort of reactive, very partisan Supreme Court will overturn precedent and say, now this is okay. And we should be very afraid of that, because we're now in upside down world where you have a precedent from this century saying you cannot do that anywhere.
They've tried to overturn this 4 times.
And it has held. But I think they don't think it will hold this time, and that should scare everyone.
Do you think it will?
Should it?
I'm not sure. And this is and I feel terrible saying that, because normally I would say that's something like super precedent. It's not super precedent, but it's just the definition of church and state and the separation of it, and it's one of the tenets of our society. And I don't know that it isn't.
It's constitutional. Constitution says
that it will hold.
It's the first part of it. But if they're saying that the law, what we are going through is laws, because they like to say, that we are a Christian nation. No, we're a nation of many religions. So if you're putting the Ten Commandments, does that mean we're putting the Quran in? Does that mean we're going to put in the writings of Buddha? I mean, how do you
I can see them going.
They would be fine with that, though.
I think I can see that. I think I can see them saying, let each state decide.
Well, this was interesting to me because it got me thinking about my education. I'm actually really grateful for the one I got in the California public school system. We learned about Christianity, we learned about Judaism, Islam, Buddhism, Hinduism, in the way that they impact our laws here, and also in civics, the way that they're enshrined in parts of our Constitution and our legal system. That's how you teach religion, and you do it in a pluralistic way, and you teach how it affects things that are going to be part of their education going forward. What bothers me here is this: in Louisiana, only fewer than 50% of kids by the 3rd grade are reading at a 3rd grade reading level. So what they're doing is bringing forward this decision, which will inevitably be challenged in the courts. The state is going to spend millions and millions of dollars fighting this that otherwise could be invested in the classroom to get kids up to speed. It feels like showmanship. It feels like you want the headline to signal what side of the culture wars you're on, when in reality there is a way to teach faith in a way that's not pushing a religion on someone that's beneficial. This seems like showmanship.
Well, and I don't mind if the school becomes the platform for people to have religion on their campuses. We used to have a prayer some days where a group of athletes would go, and but it's not the student. Yes, that's what it was. I could not. But you don't have to go. You don't have to go. And it wasn't the school. It wasn't during school hours, and the school was not involved. So I am not opposed to people of all different types of groups saying, "Hey, we think we are both interested in this. Let's go do that." I don't mind that part, but the school posting it becomes taking a stance or an endorsement of sorts, and I think that is inching into a very problematic place because, Sonny, I do not have the legal expertise. This would be super concerning because unlike abortion...
All right, shut her up. I can't take it.
No doubt.
I don't know who she is, but shut her up.
Wow. The misinformation that they spew every single day is incredible.
It sure is.
So wait, the chief thing that they're leaning on is they don't want the school endorsing something?
I guess. I guess.
Interesting,
unless it's sexual in nature.
I was about to say, how many classrooms are flying a pride flag? But that's not an endorsement at all. No. And it's damn near a religion.
It is.
There you go. I mean,
climate change. I'll bet they endorse that.
Bet they do.
Wow.
And you know what they would say to you? If your kid didn't want to be in that classroom with a pride flag or a trans flag or whatever, that group of witches right there would just say, well, you don't have to look at the flag. Okay, well, they don't have to look at the Ten Commandments then. Mm-hmm. No one's forcing them to look over there.
Right. Ugh. And what religion are the Ten Commandments, by the way? What religion? I mean, are they specific to any denomination? I don't think so. You know,
Pat,
this country,
know.
I love it when they go to the Muslim and Hindu thing. We weren't founded on Muslim Hindu principles. We were founded on Christian Judeo principles. And there's just no getting around that. Go back and read any founding document. Go back and study our founding and where our laws came from, and you will see we're a Judeo-Christian society. That's what we were built on. If you don't like it, it's tough. That's what we were founded on.
Here's an idea. The witches could fly away.
Yeah, right. Doesn't mean you have to subscribe to it. Doesn't mean you have to believe it. But you should accept the fact that it is.
That's what it is.
A Christian Judeo country. We just are. And they made no bones about it, did the founding fathers. So you can kick against the pricks all you want. That one's not going to help. You're just going to get bloody feet.